In 10 years as head of Xbox, what has Phil Spencer delivered to Xbox fans? And I'm talking about Xbox console fans. I'm not talking about, to the people on the board of directors or anything like that. What has Phil Spencer delivered to us as fans, right? Certainly hasn't been games. And the few games that we did get, he gave away. So let's take a deep dive into this. I personally think it's time for Phil to go. I think it's probably too late to save Xbox regardless. But I do think that, at the end of the day, we need to kind of look at things and go, what has Phil Spencer actually accomplished? And that whole team just needs to go. The whole team. Get them out of there. Gone. And I know that sounds mean or whatever, but honestly, what other group could get away with doing nothing, and still have jobs and security and that kind of stuff, right? Like Phil can go and fire, 2,000 people and nobody bats an eyelash, but listen, this is the thing, this is the type of stuff, he's killing the console, folks, right? Like literally, he's killing the Xbox console. I know some of you might not believe it. Some of you might think that, I'm full of it or whatever the case may be. If that's what you think, fine, whatever. But this is the God's honest truth about it, right? This is the truth about it. And this is coming from somebody with, 1,400 digital games installed, 250 more physical. I can't really think to support Xbox anymore. Like Phil Spencer, this is what, and I touched on this on my last video a little bit, but Phil Spencer was talking about bringing other digital storefronts like Epic Game Store to Xbox, which I think would be a huge idiotic thing to do, right? So in this interview, Spencer said he'd like to break down the walled gardens that limit players to only buying console games through that console's official digital store. When asked if this meant he could see a future where other third-party stores like Epic Game Store could end up on Xbox, Spencer said he could, citing the way Microsoft handles Windows as an example. He said, "Consider our history as a Windows company. Nobody would blink twice if I said, hey, when you're using a PC, you get to decide the type of experience you have by picking where to buy games. There's real value in that." He went on to explain that the current model of selling consoles at a loss and regaining the money through game sales is becoming less effective. Well, Phil, maybe because you devalued your console by doing Game Pass and you've conditioned a huge group of people that actually own an Xbox into not buying games. They just play them on Game Pass. So I look at that as one of your failures once again. He says getting them through game sales has become less effective because component prices aren't dropping so much over the course of a console's life, while at the same time, the console market isn't growing. He says subsidizing hardware becomes more challenging in today's world, and I will say, and this may seem too altruistic, I don't know that it's growing the industry. So, again, sounds more like boardroom Phil to me. So here we go. He says, I think, what are the barriers? What are the things that create friction in today's world for creators and players? And how can we be a part of opening up that model? One solution he believes, is enabling more stores to appear on Xbox consoles, giving players more options and potentially creating competitive pricing. If I want to play on a gaming PC, then I feel like I'm more continuous part of a gaming. Then I feel like I'm more a continuous part of a gaming ecosystem as a whole, he said, as opposed to on console, where my gaming is kind of sharded, to use a gaming term, based on these different closed ecosystems that I have to play across. Phil, people that buy consoles for a reason, right? They buy them for a reason. I'm sure that you will see some people go, oh yeah, this would be a really good idea. I'm, as a console gamer, saying I do not want to go through 4 freaking stores, 3 stores, 2 stores, 1 store, right? I don't want to have to deal with extra people. I don't like playing against PC people as it is. I turn off crossplay whenever I can, right? I don't want to deal with hacks and all this kind of stuff that's going to come with it. Like, this is why I personally, I don't think they're going to be able to do this, because you would have to get certification on every game, just like the Steam Deck does, right? Like, people have to approve and certify these games before they can run. You also have to optimize these things. You couldn't just put PC games on your console because consoles need optimization. So you're talking about, okay, well, would this game run on this? Would this game run on this? Is it certified to run on this? Let's mess with some sliders and stuff. Like, I don't think console gamers want that. Like, is Phil Spencer trying to Trojan horse? Like, he comes across more as hating consoles more and more every single day, right? Like, I hate PC gaming. I will never be a PC gamer. I honestly couldn't care less about PC gaming. Don't want to have anything to do with it. I buy consoles to strictly avoid it. I turn off crossplay. I do all that stuff. Want nothing to do with the PC crowd. God bless those that want to. Not my thing. But putting PC stores on Xbox would not, 100% would not draw any PC players to the console. They wouldn't. PC players like to fiddle with their hardware, like to upgrade their hardware, relatively quickly. Again, what would be the point of doing this, right? I saw some Xbox fans go, oh, well, they could then backdoor PlayStation games, and then we would be playing PlayStation games on Xbox or whatever. That's so far from the truth, because like I said, things would have to be optimized, things would have to be certified. It wouldn't work the way that, people are believing that it would work, I think, like I said, is Xbox is probably beyond saving. I see a lot of people go, well, it would be cool to have a handheld Xbox, maybe, I guess. But people, I think, are under the impression that these handhelds and things are selling better than they actually are. If you look up any of the sales numbers, the Steam Deck is at 3 million, and that's after years on the market, and the Asus ROG is at 500,000, and they haven't updated any numbers on these things recently. So I think we're probably at, you could get 5-6 million from it, but Xbox has already done better than that. So, you're realistically, you think he's trying to line everything up, and you've got a lot of Xbox fan goes, oh, well, finally this is going to be the thing that puts Xbox over the top. I just don't see it personally. How could that ever be a thing that happens when you have no exclusives, right? Like, people go, oh, Steam Deck is so great, and it plays Xbox and PlayStation games. It sold 3 million units. If it was such a great thing, wouldn't people be buying it, right? Like, the PC crowd likes their powerful PCs. They're not going to buy a console hybrid. Like, I don't want a console hybrid. So this is kind of all kinds of ridiculousness. I think it's more than time for this guy to go. He's passing the buck every chance he gets. Coming up with ridiculous ways to ruin the Xbox brand, to dilute the Xbox brand, to make it worse. Ever since he decided to put the games on PC in the first place, he's killed off the Xbox. I mean, you could do other things, and some games could have went, but the fact of the matter is they still put stuff exclusively on PC, right? And then port it over to Xbox later, sometimes not at all. But, it's such a one-way thing for him, and, I'm pretty fed up with it at this point. But I would love your guys' thoughts on this, man. Don't let me just rant and rave. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up.